Back it up. We're back in here. Get back in here.
You're live now.
All right.
You're live now. Hi. We're live.
Hey, sorry. We had a few issues. Good afternoon. My name is Bonnie Shalette. I run the GEG South Louisiana. We have Amanda Jones and Heather White here with us. We're going to be talking about G Suite Basics and Google certification level 1. So I'm not going to talk very long. I'm just going to go ahead and let them at it. But at the end, I'm going to talk about our upcoming events. We're going to do interactive classrooms next week, and then level 2 the following. So if you like this, we'll be coming back. Look, we have somebody from Walker, Louisiana. Hey, I'm from Walker, Louisiana. Yes, hey. All right, so I'm going to let these two ladies go, and feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat.
All right, here we go. I'm waiting for my screen to pop up. I'm hoping that you can see it. Welcome to G Suite Basics and Google Level 1 certification. So we will get started. Heather, you want to introduce yourself first?
I will. Sorry, my bloodhound was doing his call to the people, so I had to mute myself for a moment. My name is Heather White. I am a 5th grade math and science teacher in Denham Springs, Louisiana. You can see where you can follow me on Twitter at Tall Techie Teach. And I'm a certified educator and a Google certified trainer. And I'm so happy to work with y'all tonight.
And my name is Amanda Jones. I'm a teacher librarian in Watson, Louisiana. I am only Google level 1 right now, but I will be level 2 within the next week or two.
I will be pulling her by her hair into Google level 2 status. So
I just got to stop and take the test.
The next time you see her, she's got bald patches. I know nothing about it. Nothing.
But what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some of the basic tools. We're going to go through very quickly because in all actuality, you could spend hours in each of these. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to go hit the top things that I think that you should know, or that Heather feels that you should know. And we're going to go through this really quickly. But the good thing is that you'll have access to this video. And if you ever want the presentation, we can send you the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Google Docs. All right. Now, Google Docs this is the little icon for it. And what we've done in each of these slides, as we highlight something in G Suite, we will have a direct link on the slide to get to Google Docs, and then we have a direct link to training help specifically for whatever we're talking about on the screen. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always used, up until the last few years, I always used Microsoft Word, but it's basically kind of the same thing, in my opinion, only Google is like way better. Google Docs are way better. So what I have on my screen is just a blank doc. If you go in and you pull up Google Doc, it looks like this. Now, when you're in Google Docs, some of the features that I wanted to point out to you. First of all, it's untitled. So if you want to change the title, you would go up here and you would just change it to whatever. Okay, it automatically saves it for you. So it's not like Word where you have to go in and you have to click Save As and save. It automatically saves it into your drive. Another feature that I like about Google Docs is that it is, if you are familiar with Word, everything's up here. But what I wanted to point out over here is a share button. So you no longer have to like save files and email to people through whatever you're saving it in. You can share directly. So something about Docs that you need to know, especially if you're going to be taking any of the Google certifications, you definitely need to know how to share. Now, when you come up here, you can share directly to someone else. So I could type in Heather's name and I can share this directly to Heather. Now, notice this button right here. This is something you need to know. You can share as a viewer, a commentator, or an editor. If I wanted Heather to have access to be able to go in and edit my doc, I would make sure I had editor. If I just wanted her to view it, I would click on view. So you can share it that way, and then I hit send, and it's going to go to Heather. Another way to share is Heather and I do a lot of documents that we will attach to our websites. So there's a copy link down here. Now, you can change what type of link. Do you want to share a link? If you send someone this link right here, again, they can have editing access. You can click down here. They can have viewer, commenter access, all of that. So, if you are thinking about taking You have the Google certifications. You definitely need to know about this and how to change viewer and commenter, editor, that type of thing. But basically, it's if you've used any type of typing, I don't know, not app.
Word processing program.
Word processing program, you're going to be pretty familiar. Something you want to add image, you can insert an image. You can do it by URL. You can do it directly from your drive. You can upload from your computer. But I wanted to point out this add comment link. So say I'm typing something, blah, 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 and I want someone to be able to, I'm editing Heather's document. I can add a comment by hitting this plus sign, and I can put plus, hold up, it disappeared. I can put plus, and I can add an email. So I can say to Heather, check this out. And I can assign it to Heather so that she can go and check my comments and check and see what I'm writing within this document. That is something that is a little different. And if you're, especially when Heather starts talking about Google Classroom, and you're dealing with students and you're assigning students, you can assign certain students, hey, check this out, come look at this link, check this out. So that's something I wanted to point out as far as in Google Docs with the commenting feature. And like I said, it auto saves. The last thing I wanted to show you is that, you can pretty much insert whatever you want. Footnotes, if you wanted to document something, you can add a footnote at the bottom. You can add a link and say where you got your information from down there. That's basically Google Docs.
Hey, go back to the doc real quick. I just want to point something out. And this lives in a lot of the G Suite applications. If you click on the tools bar and click on explore. So there's two ways to get there. There's that one. And then it was also, I don't know if you saw, it was at the bottom of the screen, but if you click on that, you can search the web from right within your document to find, content and things of that nature. And a lot of times it will go ahead and do an auto citation for you so that you can make sure you put it in your document correctly and even insert maybe as a footnote. So there is that option in there and it pulls a lot of really good and safe content for kids if you're using this as an educational platform.
See, Heather, that's why you're the trainer, because I didn't know that one.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, sister.
Now, slides, if you have ever used PowerPoint, slides is similar to your PowerPoint. It's a multimedia slideshow. There's a lot of cool things that you can do to slides. You can create graphics and save them as JPEGs and PNGs and things. Some things I wanted to show you, and I just have a blank one pulled up. Just a pretty simple one. You can go in, you can add a new background. You can choose your color. I'll just choose something. Oh, that's ugly, but we'll just pretend it's not ugly. And you can add you can do a different theme. You can have, pick your different style. What I like is layout. So you can decide if you want to add, your title, if you want it to be blank, like I have it right now. You can choose to add images, have a layout already ready. Once you have so many slides, you can do transitions. You can apply to all slides and have it transition, look real pretty. Something I wanted to point out over in insert. So you can insert images, text box, audio. The cool thing about images is that you can search directly from the web within there. Another thing you can do, you can just link URLs and post an image directly from a URL. You can do it from your drive. Text boxes are easy to do. You add a text box. You just type in there. If you want to add more than one, you can go in and keep adding more. I like to do, once I get my text box formatted, I like to just copy and paste and I add multiple text boxes like that. And just like Google Docs, it automatically saves for you. And just like Google Docs, you can come up here and you can change the title. So this will be my practice one. Then you can choose where you want to save it within your drive. Do you want to save it in a certain folder or whatever? You can do the same thing with adding comments. If you want to leave a comment to someone, you can put their email. You add the plus sign. I could tell my daughter to look at this, and I could assign it to her and tell her to go check it out. And she's going to wonder why I sent that to her, but whatever. Basically, if you're familiar with PowerPoint, you will be perfectly fine with this. It does the same with the sharing over here. There's the share button. You can choose if you want to share directly with someone through an email, or you can come over here and you can copy the link. You can decide, do you want to give them viewing access only? Do you want to give them editing access? You can decide what kind of access you give them whenever they go in with this document. You can also make a copy. So say you have a presentation and you want to create a copy, make a copy. You can copy the entire presentation. You can download it if you'd like to print it out. Pretty easy to use. I recommend you just going in and playing with it.
Right. We had a question about, if you tag it, it goes to that specific student. So that student will see that tag, especially
the comment.
A collaborative type document. And then if you've noticed the little explore button at the tab, the same thing, go below. You see where it says explore at the bottom of your screen?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So same thing here. You can search for images, content. It gives you, or through your drive for different things to input into your slides. And one thing I want to point out, if you're using only an EDU account, your share settings, like click on the share button again, your share settings have not yet possibly rolled over to look like this. This is a new share setting that rolled out, I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And it is not showing up in my EDU domain yet, but it is showing up on my personal one. So those of you that are working in the working in just an EDU domain, just be cognizant, be aware of that, and that that you're going to see it differently. And you're going to want to probably, if you're going to take the level 1 certification, you're going to need to use a personal Gmail in order to do all that, so that you have access to the features and that you can play with everything.
Yeah, I like to use, I use my personal one because I find that with my school one, it doesn't let me access a lot of the features.
No, it doesn't. I mean, because your administrator of the domain has lockdown on certain things and they have to enable it. So you really have to make sure that you're using this through a personal account, because you're going to take your test. You have to be able to access the email. A lot of them shut that down. Not only that, what if you change the school district, and you lose access to that email? So you want to make sure that you can take that with you.
I did want to mention, if you're inserting a video, you can do it directly from your drive, a URL. You can search directly in YouTube. So I probably should have, nothing nasty pops up under science. But you can put in, you can directly insert a video in. And on the side, you can tell it like when you want it to play. Do you want to mute the audio? Do you want an autoplay? You can change the size, position. I really love that feature. I use it a lot as far as inserting videos directly from YouTube on there.
Yeah. Amanda asked, if our students don't have access to their Gmail, how will they see the comments? When they open that doc the next time, all of the comments that have been directed towards them will show up in that document, and they'll be able to tell, because there'll be the little highlighted area and they'll see what that comment was. So in order for them to know that, they would have to absolutely go back in and look. And it's one of those things where the teacher comes in and says, okay, I've gone in, I've edited, I've made comments, you need to open your document now, find the comments, and, make those changes. And another great thing about inserting the YouTube, video, it plays within the slides. So you do not have to worry about ads that pop up or inappropriateness that might pop up. It doesn't direct them outside of the slides in order to watch that video. And so that has been, especially with younger students, something that's been very beneficial. And another one says within Drive, if they're tagged, it shows the little number with the number of comments. So if they look at that document in their Drive, they will see that.
And that's one of the things that it's hard when you're using a school account versus a personal, which you can and can't access, because I see a lot of questions in the comments about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tabitha, I would definitely use a personal account for training and outside of school. Yeah. Now YouTube, I didn't realize that YouTube is something that I could have possibly been tested on for Google certification. And I was really glad I already knew how to use YouTube. So most of you already know what YouTube is. I'm going to take you over to my library's YouTube page. And we had some kids. We had a kid in an escape room, so we were looking at weird stuff the other day. But over here on the side, I wanted to point out, this is kind of like your little table of contents. You can create your playlist. I have all of these playlists right here. Now, so this is my channel. This tells you how many subscriptions I have, how many uploads, things like that. Now, I follow this guy, Claude the Reciter, who's really funny. And I wanted to show you just by using an example of Claude's. He's a sock puppet. Act like he's a real human. He's a sock puppet. But say I wanted to save one of these videos or any video on YouTube into a playlist. You click on the snowman. That's what I call it. Heather, is that what you call it, the snowman?
Snowman, and then the sleeping snowman. Go this way with it.
All right. Well, look, you would click on Save to Playlist right here. You could click on any playlist. If there's not a playlist, you can create your new playlist. So I can create a whole new playlist to save it under. You can choose if you want to save it as public, unlisted, private, whatever. So any videos that you find, you can save to playlists. Now, I have, let me show you my videos. So I've uploaded a lot of videos on here for school purposes. They're already saved to playlists right here. If you ever want to upload your own videos, you can go right here and you can click upload video, or go live if you wanted to. But you can upload videos and name them and put them into playlists. When you do have a video, and I'm going to pause this the minute, oh gosh, not my face. I'm going to pause that the minute it starts. So just to show you right here, underneath videos, there's a share link. It says share. So you can click here and you can copy the URL. So say you wanted to, in your Google Classroom, you wanted to drop a video in Google Classroom or something for your students, you come here, you can copy directly. It has all these other features. You can email students, whatever. You can also share entire playlists. So if I go back to my playlist, so Heather and I do webinars, I could share my entire playlist of videos. I go right here and I click copy. You can also embed them. So if you have a website or something, or you want to embed, you can click embed and you can copy this entire embed code and drop it directly into your website if you have a website. I think that's about all I needed to show on YouTube. Just, you need to know how to make a playlist, make a channel, play around with it a little bit. The best thing I would suggest, again, is just play around with it. The more you play around with it, the better you're going to be. Just make a video of yourself, upload it, play around, try practicing making playlists and adding things to those playlists. And you can always delete them once you add them to the playlist. All right, so Gmail, most people are familiar with Gmail. So I'm going to go head over and look at my Gmail. And it's just a bunch of junk because I rarely use it. But some of the features in Gmail that you should probably know about, you can go in and add labels. So for instance, I have a label called junk that I don't want. I mean, I could just delete it, but I saved it as junk just to show you. But you can go in, say after you read this email, you can go in, you can move it to a certain folder. You can add tasks, you can add it, mark it as unread, deleted, everything you can normally do with a normal email program. But here up here it says labels. So you can go and you can say, I want to add this to the junk I don't want again. See, and now it's labeled junk I don't want. If I wanted to add another label, I could create a new label. Say I want to save this email to share with students later. I could create a label called students. And now it's labeled junk I don't want and students. I can take off that.
You can color code them.
Oh yeah, I color coded my junk I don't want. Students, you come in, you click the snowman, you can label it a color. I'll label that pink. There's your inbox, you can star things, you can make folders, you can label. You want to compose an email. Say you're composing an email, and I was trying to drag this to the center. There you go. So you're composing an email, you send it to whoever you want to send it to. So I'm sending this to Heather, and just like a regular email, you type what you want to type. Down here at the bottom, you've got your regular stuff. You can insert links. You can insert files using your drives. You can insert images, a signature, whatever.
Connect with emoji.
Yes, you can, and you can schedule it to send. You can go ahead and send it. Basic email. But I do like that you can link it to your calendar and things if you want to save that email to bring up, say you have a conference and you want to bring that up with a student or a parent. But that's pretty much the basics of Gmail. Google Forms is the last one I'm going to talk about before I turn it over to Heather. Heather, are you laughing at me? I can't see you.
No, I'm just smiling so that I don't have RBF.
I had a meltdown with Forms the other day.
I forgot. See, now you had to bring it up. Now I remember.
But Forms is something, and I wanted to point out the difference between Forms and Sheets because a lot of people get those confused. Forms you want to use whenever you're creating surveys. You can create quizzes, but when you're wanting feedback and surveys and things like that, you'd use Forms. And I'm going to show you, this is just an example form right here. So say I wanted to start a new form, and it's very similar again to docs and slides. You can come over here and you can type in, it didn't click, hold up. You can type it, you can name it whatever. Now over here, say you're going to do an escape room, and I'm just going to name this escape room, and then I could come in here and I could give it a description. I can come over to the side and I can add in images. I can add videos straight from YouTube. I can add an entire section over here. This is where you're going to be adding your text, your images, your videos, and your sections. Now, once you add a section, if you want to ask a question, you click on it and there's different choices. So you can choose if you want to do a short answer, a paragraph, a multiple choice. And so if you're just looking for feedback and you wanted to have multiple choice, you can ask your question here, question 1, and then you just click like option 1, and that would be answer blah, blah, blah. And then answer 2 is blah, blah, blah. And you down here at the bottom, you can click required so that if you're using this with students and you want to require them, they have to answer that particular question. You can come right here. You can duplicate a section. You can move it. So you could move your sections. Sorry, I didn't grab that. You can move your sections around once you had a bunch. I'm going to show you a more, this is very simplified. You can get pretty complex. Before I go to the complex one, let me show you. If you're sending it, you can choose to send it to email someone in particular. I could email it to Heather. I can include the form in the email, so the form would be directly emailed, or I could choose to come over here and I could shorten it. I can even shorten it. I can copy the URL. So if I had some questions I want to ask the kids, I could drop a link, or you can even come in here and you can embed it. I like to embed things. So let me show you a more difficult, a more complex, and this is very complex. And actually one of my 6th grade students created this form for an escape room the other day. But you can this is how you would do like digital escapes. You can go in and you have your sections and you can get really complex. So you could say, who is the villain of Lord of the Rings? And they would choose, and then let me make it go live to show you. So you would start. So if, say you choose Gandalf, who is the villain? And we know he's not the villain. So it goes to the section, you shall not pass. You go back, you choose. So you can get pretty complex with these, with adding images, going back and forth. You can add, so for this one is a multiple choice. You can choose to just have them mark, or you can choose to have them move to sections based on what they mark. Slides can get really intense and complicated. So that's a whole thing in itself. If you're just you're brand new at Forms and you're just looking at, learning, especially for like Google One certification, you just need to know the basics of how to create a section. You add a section, decide if you want to have a short answer, put your answer in, make it required, learn how to send it, know your settings, know that you can require them to, you collect their email, or you can make it anonymous by uncollecting it. You can limit them to one response. You can let them edit it. You can let them go back and redo it again. So all of your options would be up here. You can change your colors, customize your themes, all
Click
of
on
that.
the one. There you go.
Yeah.
And now, okay, so here's something that I just recently learned. Go down to preferences.
Okay.
Okay, so right there, you can set some default settings. So if you're using this, for quizzes and things, if you notice on the questions that you can make every question a required question, meaning that they cannot submit it unless they've done it. And you can also set a default point value so that you don't have to go in and change that for every single one. So if you typically make everything worth 1 point, you could change it for that. And that's there. And then that's also if you wanted to add a collaborator to your form, click on the snowman again.
Oh yeah, I meant to mention that. Thank you, Heather.
That is where you would find you add collaborator and some collaborator. And then you can, do a couple different edit type things up in there as well. People don't realize that snowman does that, because typically the gear icon is how you can do all of your settings in every Google app. Just go click on the gear icon, and that's how you can change things up.
And when my student created this, he sent it to me, and I had to actually Zoom him and teach him how to click to make me an editor, or how I could see it not just from a view, how to make it allow me editing rights to it, so I could go in and fix a few things on there. But again, go in and just play. Forms is a great way to do surveys and real quick spot checks. You can drop the link of forms straight into Google Classroom and have them find out something in a matter of seconds. All right, Heather. So the next one is yours. So
all me?
Yeah, already. So I'm going to stop share.
All right. Hold up. Do you see me?
I see you.
Okay. Boom.
It was almost there.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So let us all just take a moment to really enjoy the funhouse mirror effect, because, why not? All right. Here we go. Google Drive. So Google Drive is your storage hub for all your Google creations. Every time you create anything new Google, and anytime that you type one character, it stores it to your Google Drive, which is a blessing and a curse, because then you don't lose things, but then you also have a lot of stuff that maybe you decide you don't want. You got to go and delete it. But, I'd rather have everything where I'm not going to lose it than, not. So what you can do is you can upload your documents folders from your computer. Like a whole entire folder at one time, so that you don't have to continually keep, clicking this, that, or the other. You can convert file formats from, say, Microsoft products into Google products with one click. You can create new files within your drive, and it's very easy for organization and collaboration. So if I show you my Google Drive, all right, so notice that Amanda shared this with me just a little bit ago, and it's already showing up in here. So here is what you will typically see. You either have an icon view, okay, or you can do a list view, sort of a personal preference. I tend to like the icon view, because if I come over here and I click on this arrow, then I get my folder view. So within all of these things, you can add in little emojis in front of them. And I went and did numbers to make sure that it puts it in the order that I wanted it. Otherwise, it does put it in alphabetical order by default for you. So you can kind of come down here and you can see all of these things. Just to see anything that's been shared with me, if I click there, then I see all of the things that have been recently shared with me, for as long as I can have access to them. Okay. Now, here's where your trash can is if you want to get rid of things. With an EDU account, you do have unlimited storage. With a personal account, you get 15 gigabytes. You can purchase more. You can have starred presentations. So if there are things that you want to easily get back to, you can star those to find them. And that's just as easy as opening something and dun, 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 dun. Right here, you just click on the star. So if I don't want it in my favorites anymore, unclick it. If I want it in my favorites, click it. So that is that right there. this is where you would go to create a new folder, upload a file from your computer, or upload an entire folder. And then you can also start new Google application files from here. You can add some add-ons, which if you scroll all the way down and it says, look, connect more apps. So these are not ones that are going to be default to have right there. These are ones that I've added to connect to my files to do different things with the different applications. So even here, notice that I can go blank form or I can choose from templates. And same thing works with all of these over here. On this side up here, this means if I want to enable offline editing, I would need to click that to make sure that when I don't have access to the internet, I can still get to my things. I can get support, help. Here is your gear icon where you can go ahead and download drive for your desktop, look at keyboard setups. But this settings button right here has a little thing that a lot of people don't know about. So convert uploads. So if you click on this, it's going to convert all uploaded files to Google Docs editor format, meaning that if you put like a Word doc in there, when you open it, it's going to be a Google Doc as well. And then you can turn on, notifications for different things and manage the apps that you have added onto your Google products. So, that I've got a lot of them there. So that is your basics really for Google Drive. You can share any document you want from within your drive, either a whole folder or just one document. And if I were to right click on that, notice that I get this menu here. So from here, I can do a preview. So it doesn't open the whole thing. It just sort of shows that. You can open with and choose how you wish to open that app. So if I wanted to be able to annotate on it, that's an app that does that. Share here. Again, your share permissions will pull up. It's processing. And notice how this share looks different than the other share. This is what I was talking about. This right here is how I'm seeing it through my EDU account. When you use an EDU account, everything you do defaults to only those within your organization can view. You would have to come in and change these by clicking on more. And here's where you would have other options as far as making it public, how people can find it, and then again, changing your editing, viewing, or commenting permissions right here. Click on done there. Last things, you can add this to a specific workspace by creating a new workspace. I don't have any. Add a shortcut to the drive, move, add it to starred, rename it, manage versions, make copies, download. So lots of options just by right-clicking on folders or any document that you have in there. You can also share documents by clicking on the plus sign here, and that will work on opening up those share options. So again, just kind of click around and see the different options that you have on the sides, links to your calendars and things. And so that is your basics for Google Drive.
Heather.
Yes.
Can you do me a favor? Can you show them in Google Drive, once you make a folder, how you can make other folders and documents within that folder?
Yeah. So once you have a folder in your drive, if you click on the folder itself, you can create another new folder. So if you look here, click on this down arrow, folders here. So I've got this year, I've got other ones, so there are tons of folders within all of my folders. So it's just a matter of nesting them, and you can drag and drop into those things. You can choose where you want to save, but wherever you want to create something new, you right click on that specific thing. And you can also change the color. You can see how I recolored mine. Yes, I know, I'm a little extra. And you change color right here. And if you want to, these are your options. Unfortunately, they don't let you actually add in specific hex codes to my knowledge. Maybe they do, and I just don't know how to do that. But you can change the color and make it as pretty as you want. So here's your rainbow. Was that good, Amanda? Did I cover it?
Yeah. I just want to make sure people understood that.
No, thanks. Okay. Google Calendar. So the nice thing about Google Calendar is you can have your calendar on your computer, and if you download the calendar app to your mobile device, everything syncs up. So, you can take it with you wherever. You can have as many calendars as you want to, and you can color code each calendar. You can make them public or private. You can embed them into websites. You can, go ahead and subscribe to specific calendars. So if I open my calendars here, you will see all of these little color coded things that are on the calendar. And what that is for each calendar that I have, I went ahead and gave it a specific color. And you do that again by clicking on your options, display, this one only, settings and sharing. So if I wanted to share out, I've got lots of options in here as far as permissions, who can share, event notifications, integrations. So right here from the settings, this is where I can import and export. I can add new calendars through subscriptions. Or if somebody gave me the URL to their specific calendar, I could follow it that way. When you come in this way down here, this is where you set up all of your permissions. Okay. And again, how do you want to do these things? And then your shareable link to share with other people, or you can add people with just adding them from that button right there. Notifications, which would, pop up on your screen. And then you can set how you want other specific notifications to come to you. And I took this one. If you notice this integrated calendar right here, I actually took this embed code and I put it in my school website for my kids. So when my parents would go to the website, they would see all of the school events that I had connected to that calendar would be right there for them. And then you can even put a public address in your, iCal, which would be your iOS devices. To create an event for anything, you would just click on the date. So let's see, let's go to, not that way. April, May, June. So we said, I think June 18th, we're going to do a, escape room tutorial through this. I can add specific times. So what we're going to do is we are going to start this at 5 o'clock that day. We'll say, let's go to 7. I could add specific guests. So here's Amanda Jones. That would be her school one. If I wanted to do her personal one, I could do that. So she will get an alert. I could also check her availability if she had it set where I could see this. I can also set a Google Meet for this. So if I want this to be a Google Meet, here's my code, okay? And then I shared this Meet out and it goes into everybody's calendar. And when the time comes, all they do is they click on that and they're in the Meet. I can add rooms. So if we were going to do a specific room location, and then right here is where I choose which calendar I'm putting this on. So a lot of these are my Google Classroom calendars, because every time you create a Google Classroom, it creates a calendar for you. But I'm going to leave that one on my personal one, and then I'm going to click Save. It's going to prompt me, do I want to send an email? No, send. I'm going to say don't send. And I'm going to continue, well, not continue editing. Send. And invite an external guest. Because she is outside of the organization, it doesn't have that at livingstonsschools.net domain. It's alerting me, hey, you're inviting someone to something that's not in your domain. Are you sure you want to do that? It's just a safeguard to protect everybody. So now I have this here, and if Amanda were to go to her calendar, she would see that invite. Okay, again, settings, add-ons for different, calendar options, density and color. So how do I want this to look like? Modern with white text, classic with black text, responsive to my screen or compact. So you just kind of have to play around with these. And again, you can look at it as a day view, a week view, month, year, show weekends. Just do the 4 days. I do week. I'm obviously not that busy of a person that I have to be able to look at everything that's going on in one day. So month view or week view works for me. And if you have any questions about anything, you can always look at the support that's right there.
Heather, will you show them how to set up a reminder?
For what?
in case they had to set up a reminder the day before to remind them that an event is upcoming.
Okay. So hang on. Let me go back to editing this one. Okay. So again, here's my Meet. And it defaults to setting a reminder right there when you do it. So when you create, edit this. When you create your event, the notification right here, you make it within the event when you're creating it. So this notification is going to come 10 minutes before. I can add multiple ones. Let's say that I want it a day before. So 1 day before it's going to remind me, 10 minutes before it's going to remind me. I can add as many notifications as I want to. And it's just done right then when you actually create the event. And if you decide that you want to go back and change something, again, you just click on the event itself. And here, right here, the pencil is your editing button. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so Google Hangouts, we have Google Hangouts and we have Google Meet. They used to kind of be the same thing. They were Google Hangouts Meet, and then they kind of pulled them apart, and now they're talking about maybe phasing out the Hangouts, but I'm going to talk about them both anyway. So Hangouts is, if you remember AOL Instant Messenger, that's basically what Hangouts is. It's like a chat feature. My husband is an Android person. I won't hate him for that, but whatever. So he does all of his chatting through Hangouts as opposed to his typical SMS, because for some reason it works better that way. But that's all it is you can download apps to your to all of your mobile devices, and you can also get to it through the waffle. You could also go to hangouts.google.com and you could see that there. You can chat, you can send photos, you can send pictures. The nice thing is it also lives in your Gmail. So when you open a Gmail account, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can even do your chatting through that. You can do voice calls, video calls, and everything within 150 people in Hangouts. So if I were to click and go to the website, this is what the website looks like. So, hey, look. For some reason, my husband told me that at 12/11/19 that I was going to do awesome for something. I don't remember what it was, but he sent me a Hangout. So that is that right there. This is where I could find people and add conversations, so on and so forth, video calls, that sort of thing. So that's all what Hangouts is it's sort of a chat feature. That's what most people use it for. Meet, on the other hand, has really beefed up their game since the whole pandemic thing went down, and it's basically a Zoom. It's a video conferencing app, and they've been doing a lot of updates as far as making sure it's definitely private for students and other people can't get in, with the whole Zoom bombing thing. It uses the same protections that Google uses to secure information. You can connect with your students through secure video calls, and they even integrated it into Google Classroom so that a Meet link will post in the header of your classroom, and you can easily just click on it and go. Right now, you can have up to 250 people in a Meet. And if you have the capabilities, you can live stream, I think, to 100,000 people. It's some crazy number. This is the website. Oh, look how pretty that is. That's so pretty. Okay. They give you a different picture every time, so it's not like I set that, but I do like that one. Join or start a meeting, very simple. I can give it a nickname. I can schedule from here, and it walks me through the steps. Again, scheduling, you just do it through your calendar. And then you have some settings as far as, dismiss. Come on, allow. Which one you're going to use here, what video camera you're going to use. And then, oh, look, all right, I'm again. And then you can kind of start it. Teachers do have the capabilities of recording it so that you can share it out with students who weren't necessarily able to be there. And then you can switch through your accounts. Send feedback. Hey, I want you to add this feature. And then this is just, will take you to some troubleshooting tips if you're having any issues. So Meet is basically like having a Zoom where you can do video conferencing. I'm trying to hurry. I know we're running out of time. Google Sites. You have two options for sites. This one right here is the new sites. This is the only one that I've ever used, because they kept saying that classic sites were going to go away. Classic sites is a little bit, I I guess it's more work. It's not as an easy a drag and drop interface. It works if you want it to. That it does have more options as far as templates go. So if you click on that, you can see lots of different templates, and then go through here and kind of pick and choose, what it is that you're looking for. And so lots of different ones there. But if you do the new sites, you do still have some templates, not as many, okay? But you have all of these options, school options, and then some personal options. You can pick through those. If I were to, let's say I wanted to build a class website, when I click on that, come on, it's thinking. There we go. You have all of these options here. Again, it's like I said, it's a very drag and drop, easy to use interface. You have layouts, preset layouts, and then all of these different things that you can just pull, you find from your drive, and you just drag it over and drop it in. Very easy to use, very simple for kids to use. So if you're looking at maybe doing student portfolios, this is something I would definitely recommend. Again, here's your gear icon where you can go through some different settings. You can publish it where only people in your domain can see it. So if you're using an EDU domain, that's nice. Sort of a privacy filter on who can see student content. And it is responsive. So you can preview what it would look like on a desktop or on a mobile device. All right.
Heather, did you do Classroom and Sheets?
No, I didn't even see those on here. All right, let's talk Google Classroom real quick, people. Where did Classroom and Sheets go? Okay, so here's Google Classroom. You'll notice I cleaned mine up. I have a few right here. Easiest way to do, you click on your plus sign. Click on either join a class, if you're going to join a class, or create a class. To create a class, all you have to do is type right here, Heather's math site. Create in Google's artificial intelligence is going to do some thinking because I said math. And what it's going to try to do is choose a header image that will match math. And if you notice, it did pretty good. I've got a calculator, some graph paper, all of those things. Now, if I don't like that, I can go through their options and select, or I can create my own and upload it. If you want to do that, 1600 pixels by 400 pixels is the size that you need. Class code is how you can have students join. They would click join and type that in. Notice right here, here's that Meet link thing I was talking about. So if I click on generate a Meet link, it's going to automatically make this visible to students. I can save it. And when students come into the account, they can click on this and our Meet begins automatically. Now, see, here we go. It's important, though, not to leave that up because you don't need students going back into the party without you. So to change those things, you will click on your settings icon and you will roll down here, boop, 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 where Meet is, come down, reset it, and turn your visibility off. There are lots of options in the Meet in your settings where you can change up some information, change the way that you want your stream and your classroom classwork to appear. If you want to turn on Guardian summaries, you can do that. And that does not give parents access to the classroom. What it does do is lets them just kind of see what their kid is doing through email. And then you can set up the built-in gradebook as well. In Classroom, you are given 4 tabs. So Stream, I treat that as sharing out any announcements I may have. Classwork, this is where you would go to create any of these assignments. Now, unless you have enabled Kami, which is just a program that you can use to write on, like PDFs and stuff, you won't see this one. But you have assignments. This is how you would, give a title, add content to it, set points, choose classes that I want to share this to, choose specific students, due dates, topics, And something that's really nice, got to give it a title first. I can come in here and I can give it a built-in rubric. So right here, I can create a rubric as many levels as I want to, put it as worth as many points as I want to, and the students will see exactly what is required of them in that assignment. The beauty of that is when I go to grade it and I click on student work, I can click on that rubric, all of the criteria within that window, and it awards the points, and I can return it to students from right there. Anything else on class that I need to point out?
Can you show them how you can share just certain things with certain kids?
Yeah, let me come and open. I got to have some students in my people. Okay, so here's my people tab. You can add students by clicking here and typing in their email address and, their school one. And when they log into their classes, they will see this. And at the bottom, it will say you've been, join, accept or decline or whatever. So if they are in here, what was the question again? I completely got sidetracked.
Can you show them how you can share, just share an assignment with one or two students?
Oh, I don't want a Cami assignment. I clicked on the wrong thing. Bless. Stop. Okay. All right, assignment. I'm going to add something. All right, so here are all the students that are in this training class. I don't have to choose them all. I can choose just a few. So if I'm doing small group work, only 3 students are going to get this specific assignment. If I'm differentiating my work, only 3 students are going to get this assignment. And it's not going to show up on everybody's stream as saying, hey, this one assignment was only sent to these 3 kids. It only shows up on the classwork page for those specific kids. So that's sort of a nice thing that you can, as far as doing group work, differentiation, maybe somebody needs a second try at a quiz, so you're going to send it to them again. Another nice thing is if you teach multiple classes, you don't have to retype the same thing repeatedly. I could come down here and share this one assignment to every single class that I teach, and it assigns it right then and there for them. So they don't have to, I don't have to go from class to class and go through and retype everything. I can also reuse a post. So if I forgot to share it to everybody, I can just click on reuse post. And I can choose the class that I want this coming from. And what I can do is pick the assignment that I want to reuse. It opens up for me. I can do editing if I need to edit anything that was in here, things that I wanted to say, point values, whatever. So before it gets assigned, I can go in and do some editing with that. Those of you that create your pre-done forms, this is how you would share your form through your classroom. You would just come here to the add button and find it in your Google Drive, and it will store right here. And make sure this grade importing button has been toggled on. That's important because after they do it, come here and find it. I can show you what it does. There we are. When I click on view the assignment, notice I have import grades right here. So if I click on that and say import, everybody that's done that's grade is going to show up over here. So that way I see the grade, I can return the grade, it shows up to them in the classroom. So that's sort of a nice little feature right there. Anything else?
One last thing. Somebody had asked if you could just touch on sheets for just a second. I know we're running late.
No, as long as they don't mind hanging around, I'll hang around. Are we on a time limit? Are they going to cut us off?
If you could just show real quickly, because I know that in Sheets, because if you're familiar with Excel from the past, you pretty much understand Sheets.
There we go.
But I think people do need to know in Sheets how they can add graphs and images and average things out.
All right. So one thing in a sheet that I'm going to show you real quick. So here is that quiz that I built. When I have responses, so I can go in and I can see, grade distributions and all those sorts of things. But if you notice this button right here, I can export all of this data to Google Sheets. Now, the first time I do it, it's going to ask me to name it and so on and so forth. But this time right here, what it's doing is it's pulled all of that information and it's putting it in here for me. So I can see grades, names, and that will let me sort things. So again, coming right here, I can go through and I can do the different sortings and stuff of that nature. If I wanted to add another tab down here, I would just come down here, add sheets, add as many as I want to, right click to rename. Okay. I even have the little explore tab here for getting some insights on formatting and charts. So if I'm not sure how it works, I could go through and take a look at that, and it'll give me sort of like a little tutorial that you can play with this data. All right, now I lost where I was. Okay, here we are. Okay, so you want me to, let's see.
Just a couple of numbers real quick to show an average.
Okay, so it's also kind of intuitive. It'll start to realize that, hey, what I'm doing is I'm counting, and if I drag, I can drag it to do like all the same. Or 58. After I do that, drag. Boop, 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 boop. Usually it'll count for me, but I'm having trouble with my thing. But it'll do all the same thing, you know, that sort of thing for you if you need to quick fill. All right, so let's change 60, 45, 23, 87. Okay, so here are all my scores. If I highlight them, all right, and I go up here to data, I can do ranges, filter views. I have no idea what that does. I've never seen that. It's new. Hey, data validation, pivot table. You know, I've got all of the different things. I've got tools that I can work with, formatting, text wrapping, so on and so forth. But if I come over here to my functions, I can have it all added up for me. Okay, that's what I want. Enter, there's my sum. Okay, so it added it all for me. If I want to, let's see, let's copy and paste these. If I wanted to get an average, come over here, average all those out, hit enter, there's my average. So this right here is where you'll find all of your functions. And I'm sure there's other places for it. I'm going to be honest with you, Sheets is not my strongest thing. It's something that I do need to work more on. But you do have some filter views. You can do comments. You can, you know, come in and edit and, you know, do different as far as how it looks. Take your data, and if you have like labels, you can create charts with this data by clicking here. And you see how it takes it, and it just, all the different charts that you can create. So line charts, histograms, and then you can name your x-axis, use headers, switch rows and columns. So if you wanted to actually give, you know, information to put on your y-axis and your x-axis. So all of that is done through your little chart editor. And that's where you get that right there. You can insert links to things if you wanted to link to specific sheets, cells, ranges, and then again, all of your little other formats that are over here. Does that answer that?
Yep.
All right.
And then I think if we just speed through the certification real quick.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so why get certified? Why go through all of this and learning these things and you know, get through the certification? Well, for me, I was like, look, you know, I know this stuff. Hey, look at me. I'm Google certified. It was validation of all the hard work, you know, and it was accreditation. When you know these sorts of things, you know, people kind of will come to you and ask you for assistance, and it lets other educators know that, hey, you know, you really are taking interest in what you're doing and making sure that you are staying current and doing the best things for your students. So level 1 certification, they do have a fundamentals course that you can go through, and I do suggest kind of looking at it. You don't have to necessarily go through every little minute detail there, but there are some review questions on there that are really good that kind of, you know, if you can answer those, then you really sort of know what's going on. So I always went and answered the questions first, I'm gonna be honest with you. And if I didn't pass the quiz, then it let me know the things that I needed to focus on so that I wasn't wasting my time on things that I already knew how to do. It's 180 minutes. You cannot pause it and pick it up another day. It is only $10, and that certification is good for 3 years. So they say that fundamentals training is going to be about 12 to 20 hours. It depends on how fast you work and how much you know. I don't think I spent 12 hours in it. I had been using that before I even realized that you could take a test. So I kind of just decided, hey, I'm going to take the test because it's only $10 and I passed. So depending on how much you use these tools, you may be able to do the same thing. Again, pay attention to those unit review questions. Those are set up like the objective questions of the exam. And this is a clickable link that will take you to that area for the fundamentals training.
And Heather, can I say something real quick? Because, I didn't take any of the training. I was just familiar from just playing. I never had any training whatsoever in any of this. I've just played around it and discovered it on my own. So if you've known the majority of what we've been talking about tonight,
you probably are okay.
Just take the test. You're
it's
fine.
$10.
Yeah.
You can take it again in like a week, 14 days later, I think it is. If you fail it the first time, don't fail it the second time, because then you got to wait a while. But, it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. The way that it's set up is there is a section of objective questions. There's a lot of digital citizenship, if I remember, things you've got to know, scenarios. What would you do in this scenario? What kind of, tool would you use for this? So that is sort of what those types of questions ask.
Yeah,
now,
I wouldn't say it's hard. I would just say it's just time consuming just to get it off.
The performance scenarios are where you actually have to go into these different apps and click and do specific things that they tell you to do. And you open up in a new window and it's recording everything that you do. So they're testing your knowledge on the actual use of their apps. Here are some sample questions. If you click on that link, it will, not that link, sorry, I'll have to go fix it, but it is in there. That you can see this, it's in the fundamentals training. And this is a detailed list of topics from Eric Kurtz from the Control Alt Achieve blog. I know he's a trainer. I'm pretty sure he's innovator, but it goes through everything that he says you need to know to take that test. So if you can do these things, I printed this out and I checked it off and saw what I could do, what I couldn't do, and the things that I said I couldn't do, I went and I learned before I took it. And that's what I'm saying. I didn't take forever, 12 or 20 hours in that fundamentals training. This right here is something new that I wish I would have had. These are challenge cards. And this is basically going to be the application portion. It's going to tell you, hey, here's a scenario. This is what I want you to do. If you need help, click here. Click on this one. Here's your task. Create a new Google Classroom. Do this, do that. So it's kind of set up like you would see on that practical part of the test. So if you work through these, I also think that you would be okay. Oh, bless. Here we go. There's the registration link. You will have to create an account. Use a personal account for this. Because again, if you ever leave your school, then you're not going to they're not linked up. Okay. So, when you apply for the next one, you have to say, here is my certificate for this one. And this is the email address that I used for it. So I think it's called Web Assessor was when you create your account. So definitely do it in a personal one. If you don't have one, create one. And then register. You're going to receive your temporary account to use through the email. Open an incognito window. If you don't know how to do that, there you go. And that's what an incognito window looks like. I don't know if you saw that, but then you need to make sure you're doing it in Chrome and you have a webcam. And the reason they have a webcam is because it sporadically takes pictures of you to make sure that it is you taking the test and not somebody else. A few tips and tricks. Have two computers set up or multiple monitors, because you can go, if you don't know, research how to do it. You just can't call a friend and ask them for help. Okay. So there might've been things that you're kind of rusty on. That's why you have your second computer. Look it up. The point of it is as educators, when we don't know something, we take the time to go and figure it out. We take the time to research it and look up how to do something. So you can absolutely do that in the middle of the test as long as you have the time for it. Make sure you are being very careful with your titles and items as they gave it. You could even maybe do copy and paste for something of that nature to make sure that it is being graded properly, because it is computer graded. Again, 14 days after, if you fail it once, you can take it again. If you fail it twice, you do have to wait 60 days. And if you fail it a third time, you have to wait an entire year. You can take it as many times as you want to, but you are going to pay each time that you do it. This gives you a direct link to the Teacher Center for all of the trainings, resources, certifications, communities. And here is our contact information. And if you scan this right here with your mobile device right now, it will get you a copy of this presentation. Please feel free to reach out to us, follow us on Twitter, give us an email, ask questions. And that's what we're here for.
And I'll also say, I'll go in and post on this presentation on our Twitter too.
Yeah. Okay. You can do that. We can share it out. And now I've got to find my tab that is all of us talking. Nope. Nope. I don't know where we went. Here we are. One with a little red circle. There we go. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing now.
I think Bonnie took over.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Just a few, I want to talk about a few things. And let me know if you can't see my screen, but, this is our information. This is how you can access the Google Educator Group of South Louisiana's website. Follow us on Twitter.
Absolutely.
These are our upcoming events. So next week, we're going to have Nikki Laverne talking about interactive classrooms. We'll be talking about level 2 basics. And a lot of people are interested in taking that test. We're just going to talk about what you need to know. Won't be like a full boot camp. We have a monthly meeting on June 15th for whoever like to come. And then I've got these ladies again on June 18th doing escape rooms. A lot of people had a lot of questions about the changes in the testing platform, and you are not the only people that have questions. It has been quite the mess. For anybody in here that's in the trainer Google group, you've gotten like 1 million emails. Heather, you can attest to this now. You're in the group.
I'm like, whoo.
And it is a lot of emails. They have switched. Now you can take the test through ProctorU or Criterion, even if you don't have a voucher. They changed it where you could only, very suddenly, where you can only take it through a program called ProctorU. ProctorU takes longer to get it back. And you have to kind of it's a live stream of your camera. It's just a little more, I guess it's a secure platform. I don't know. I've always told people they could have an extra device and to relax, and really tried to calm people about taking that test. So ProctorU, I find, makes people a little more nervous. So I said, hey, let's use this energy to get our test done by July 1st. So you could use it the old way with Criterion, which is exactly what Heather described. So that web assessor platform that they have on the slide deck, like I said, if it takes you to ProctorU and you can't figure out how to get to Criterion, reach out to me, reach out to Heather. We'll send you the right link. But after July 1st, you won't be able to take it through Criterion unless you have a voucher. So definitely just use the chance to get that kitted in.
I didn't put on the slide, and I should have put my Gmail. That is actually my trainer one. It's talltechieteacher@gmail.com. So if you do have any questions, you can definitely, hit me up there as well.
I can put we'll have a little whiteboard right here. So you are Tall Techie Teacher?
talltechieteacher@gmail.com is my trainer email that I have set up. And then I'm just Tall Techie.
Good. Oh, yeah. And then you can reach me at Bonnie@globalgeg.org. If you want to follow us at the Global GEG, I should have put that. That's another great resource. We have a huge boot camp coming up. So definitely I would look for the Global GEG, reach out to one of us, and we'll direct you. We've got a huge boot camp coming up for level 1, level 2. And level 1, and then we're hoping to do level 2 later. So we've got a ton of stuff. I'm sorry if I couldn't see your chat, because I'm going to turn off the screen share, and now it's just going to be us. So, man, I really appreciate everybody coming. Yeah, Global GEG, come check that out too. Like I said, we have a lot of upcoming events. I'd love to see everybody there. If you're not on Twitter, you should get a Twitter, because it's a great place for teachers to meet and share very quickly.
And that is what our Apple presentation is about, is using Twitter to meet people.
So if you're
and these ladies are APL.
I'll
be Apple, whatever. Their app, they have an apple on their logo, and I can't.
I'm an APL member, man. I like them.
I am too, but I still say Apple because there's an apple right there, and I just can't be taught.
Heather and I will be teaching on how to build a PLN on Twitter if you're in Louisiana and you want to do APL camp and virtual next week.
So thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. These ladies are fantastic. I hope anybody else, I think I got everybody's questions. Thanks, Javier. So if everybody, I will see y'all soon. Like I said, next week, Nikki Laverne and Interactive Classrooms and that Bitmoji craze that everybody is on. And then we're going to talk level 2 and then these ladies again. So yay.
You know, you want to come back.
Come back.
Oh, yep. Matt again. Yes, definitely come. So, all right. So I'm going to end this broadcast. But thank everybody again.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Absolutely. Bye.